Hello everyone! From dramas to webtoons to novels, explore Korea's story with us. This is Who Reads Story. My name is An Sung-jin and I'm a news reporter, and here with us we have a new guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, nice to meet you everyone. I'm Lyubava. I work as a model and I live in South Korea.
Great to have you today, Rubao. I'm interested and excited to hear what you're going to have for us today. So, for what we have today, our comments have already mentioned that it is the best movie of the year. Today we have K-Pop Demon Hunters, which is a Netflix animation we are going to be talking about. As the title itself suggests, it talks about Korean idols and demon hunters, which seems to be a new fresh element or a new fresh item that perhaps we haven't talked about much. It combines Korea's traditional elements, traditional culture, and also brings K-pop, a modern element. Now, this piece itself has actually gained a lot of attention on Netflix, ranking top charts, and especially from the fact that Korean and Korean-descended actors have participated. Now, US's the American Sony Pictures have participated in the production. And Yubao, I'm wondering if you've seen it yourself. I've seen it myself and I found it actually very interesting from all the episodes. Have you seen it yourself? And are you interested in K-pop?
Of course, I've seen it. I just seen it recently. I used to be a very big K-pop fan back in 2012, 2014, and I was a big fan of girls groups. So seeing a girl group as the main character
Absolutely
made me very more interested in it.
Right. So the 2000s was like a great era. Can you name a couple of maybe idols that you liked back then?
I used to be a big fan of SM groups, such as Shiny, EXO. I used to like Sonyashide, FX, and lots of girl groups who blew up, I think, in 2014, with XID, Oh My Girl, stuff like this. I really liked it.
Absolutely. You name a couple of great famous Korean K-pop songs, and you've kind of alluded to what the animation itself is talking about. So to kind of briefly go over the plot itself, it talks about now this worldly renowned K-pop group called the Huntrix, and in the daytime, there are these K-pop idols that perform on stage, but during night, they're kind of these secret hunters. They're fighting against the demons. And this entire thing itself is also composed of Korean shamanism. That's why you have the honmun, which are kind of shields that protect you from the demon or the evil spirits. And the saja boys, which are the boy groups, kind of have a pun to the meaning. They have a double meaning towards it because in Korean, 사자 means the animal lion itself, but also can refer to 저승사자, which is death messenger. And it's interesting how this Netflix animation combines all these Korean elements of shamanism. And do you know much about Korean shamanism? It's a bit unique, perhaps, I'd say.
Yeah, it's actually very unique and mysterious, and I like everything mysterious. So even though I'm a pro-science person, still, I sometimes believe in tarot. I sometimes do tarot readings myself. I even have a friend who been to shaman in Korea.
Really?
Yeah, she got a consultancy from a shaman. She was like, it was mind-blowing. It's very interesting experience you can get. As well, I visited very traditional Korean wedding with this special dance, which is called Samunori.
Right.
If I'm right. So it was also very mysterious, and I don't know, something about this catches you and makes you feel in trance. I don't know how to explain it.
Interesting now that you've mentioned, you said that your friends do these, they go to shamans and see their fortune. You've also seen Samunori yourself. Now, in Korea, we have this traditional culture called 굿, which is basically a shamanistic ritual. And here, in this shamanistic ritual, what happens is that the shaman kind of calls their god through singing, dancing, all sorts of different elements. And what they ultimately wish for is, whether it be personal wish or some kind of community's well-being, which is why starting from a long time ago in history, these shamanistic rituals have been very prevalent. And not only do these traditional things kind of stay in the past, but you can really see them seep into the future as well. I mean, you said you watched 사물놀이 before. We also have 판소리, 탈춤, which are all different kind of performances, but also a lot of K-pop performances these days show a lot of traditional elements, whether it be BTS's idols, I believe they have some sort of traditional element, or the movie The Wailing also includes elements of shamanistic rituals. So it's interesting to see how these modern day cultural elements include traditional shamanistic rituals, which is why I think it's still very prevalent and very common among these people. And for you, Yubao, you said that you've lived in Korea for some time, like 6-7 years. What do you think about Korea? Do you think it's a traditional country, modern? I mean, somewhere in the middle?
It's actually a very interesting question when it's asked about Korea, because I can say that Korea is traditional, I can say that Korea is modern, because Korea is actually such a good combination of modern and traditional. On one hand, we have this very modern youth, like as well as like the LGBT friendly.
Right.
They wanna go abroad, they travel abroad, they have foreign friends, they kind of very open to new people. So I haven't witnessed like racism from youth, like they always like, hey, like let's be friends. Oh, I've lived there, I lived here. So even like Russian people don't go abroad that much, I think. But on the other hand, such things like they are very traditional when it comes to like when you work. There is very strong hierarchy, like when it comes to like your boss, you, or even people who are like 1 month, 2 months, 1 year older than you. So you spend much on that money. It's very important. Or when people drink, they still like they hide from older people. They hide that they're drinking, or you have to pour soju with your 2 hands. So these things make it very interesting about Korea. So I can't answer this question like in like,
either way,
yes or no.
Right.
Like both, I think.
Right. It's interesting because I guess Korea is a mix of both. You know, as you say, a lot of it is very progressive. We see a lot of modern elements, whether it be cultural, whether it be in our daily life, but also a lot of the traditional elements still, you know, sustain in our lifestyle, whether it be certain things like dining manners or when you meet older people to, you know, certain cultural elements that kind of still show up in our modern cultural element. I'm just going to go through the comments and see if anyone else has commented about what we have in Korea, whether it be modern or cultural. Yes, it seems like a lot of people have actually watched the movie itself, and that's why they've gone through a lot of emotions. They say how there's like the food, there's the emotion. It's interesting to see how a lot of people have actually seen it. And now for you, Ryuba, since you've lived in Korea, I guess the animation has a lot of background from Korea itself as well. It's based off of a lot of Korean elements. What was it like for you?
So every time I seen something, like it's not just a movie about Kpop. I think this movie is very culturally strong. So it shows a lot of sides of Korea as well as the scenery. So for example, every time I saw the like Jamsil Lotte Tower, I was like, I live here. It's where I live. So they also show the Hanok houses. They show, I guess there were also like some places like Mundon area, which I don't go often, so I just assumed it was Mundon. As well, they also show the traditional medicine clinics. It was very fun because I never been to one, but I always see the advertisements for them. As well, like they show the chimchilban at the end.
Very Korean again.
Extremely Korean, but extremely fun as well to see it. Like because I see it on a daily basis and I see it in the movie. Like that's right, they guessed it right.
Right.
Yeah, like things like this, like really reminded me, like that's very Korean movie.
Right, exactly. It's interesting in a way to see how all these very everyday Korean elements kind of take place in the movie. So as you just mentioned, it's not something that only happens in movies. It actually is something that's in real life as well. And I mean, already our comment has talked about the food as well. What do you think about the food within the animation itself? I mean, surely a lot of foreigner fans, I mean, even Koreans can really see that they've done a good job with it.
Yes. There was one moment that really made me laugh, how Koreans eat ramen on the plane.
On the planes?
Because every time I take planes with Korean people, they always order ramen on the plane.
Absolutely, essential.
That's very like, very Korean.
Very Korean, right. Was there anything else that seemed very Korean as a foreigner living in Seoul? You were like, oh, this is interesting. This is something that I realized as well.
Like regarding food, yeah, I've noticed like they eat kimbap, they eat tteokbokki, like there are a lot of gwacha snacks in the movie as well. Also, it's like when they got the juice from traditional Korean medicine, like I've seen like a lot of Koreans drink
the pack, right.
Also, I think it would be even cooler if they showed like the ginseng.
Oh, the ginseng.
Koreans drink a lot, or some vitamins they consume to be more energized, healthier. It was very very interesting.
Do you have like a favorite Korean food, something that the Netflix animation maybe reminded you of?
I love Kpop actually a lot, so it made me hungry a bit. I also like Korean bunshik, like the
Wow, yes.
I love it a lot, and I think they could have also added maybe barbecue places.
Right, that's
which
true.
are everywhere in Korea.
Right.
Also, there like maybe I don't think like showing like drinking in cartoon is a good thing, but it's also very Korean. That was hidden a little bit.
Right. Yeah, Korean barbecue is actually a good point because it's something very Korean that maybe the Netflix animation could talk about a bit more as well. Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier before about K-pop, and you said that you've liked a lot of these early 2010, girl groups as well. Why did you like these girl groups, and how did you feel about them when you were liking them back then?
So about the girl groups, I really like aesthetic things, and what I like especially about Korean girl groups, they're always perfect. Like everything, their skin is perfect, their outfits are perfect, they dance so perfectly, they sing well as well. So some people like, there is some contradiction, oh, this idol, she can sing at all, she can rap at all. But overall, I would say it's like perfect, they're shining, they look on stage. So it gave me so much motivation to work on myself as well, like on my appearance, also on my, I don't know, like even on my studies, like they gave me so much motivation to be better myself. And the songs, of course, are very catchy. Also, they don't only do like these catchy K-pop songs, but there are also some ballad songs that make me cry or could make me feel better when I was going through hard times or breakups. As well, I want to mention that like I was doing cover dance when I was like high school student.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't really like doing, we did like K-boy groups cover dance, girl group cover dance, but I preferred girl group cover
dances
because it helped me to uncover my feminine side. So I really liked it.
Right, and especially as a model, I guess you could probably empathize a bit more with them since you also take care a lot about your appearance and you can probably see similarities with them as idols as well. And I guess a particular part that kind of seems interesting within this Netflix series is the relationship between the idol and the fan. So the director, Maggie Gang herself, talked about how K-pop has this special bond between fans and the idol themselves, like they support each other. It really gives the idol themselves a true power as well, so that idols don't only shine on the stage as performers, but they also really grow with the fans and they become a support or a sort of strength for these fans, which is why I think it's interesting how the Netflix series really does a good job adding on to this and implementing it within the Netflix series as well. The fandom culture of, for example, the girl group Hendrix and the boy group Sajaboys all have their own fandom. And for Sajaboys, their fandom is called Pride, which is, again, another pun. Not only does it mean like pride in English, but it also talks about the group of lions, which again kind of alludes to our pun with the name of Sajaboys Lion, which is interesting. I guess how this Netflix animation just talks a lot about the fandom culture between idols and their fans.
I know some fandom names too.
Could you give us a couple?
Like, for example, EXO-L or SHINee, their fandom name was Shaul. The group BAP had their fandom like as babies, BTS Army. And it always have very deep meaning into it. Like I even and I had never known that fandom name is so important. Like with EXO, for example, fans waited for so long until their fandom name was given. Like it's such a big thing. You need to have your fandom name, otherwise, like who we are. There should be a sense of community. And what kind of sense of community can you have if you don't have your own name?
Right, exactly. Great point. I think you go over very important factors. For example, how the fandom gives a sense of community among fans. It's also important that they're named, so they have like a group identity for these fans as well, which is why I guess the fandom culture itself isn't only specific for Korea, but especially in Korea, I think it's very well used. You know, as you say, these fans are given a name like EXO, SHINee. Most of these groups now have a fandom name on their own. And I think the company or the entertainment agency themselves also know that it's important to give these fans a voice by perhaps, you know, giving them a community or like a fandom name.
Yes. like because fans are not only enjoying like idols' music, they also buy a lot of goods. Like they buy the light sticks to go to concerts. They even buy the like membership to be like an official fan. It's not only like I name myself like Shovel and I'm Shiny fan officially. No, I buy the membership. And I not only buy the albums, I also buy the t-shirts. I buy the albums, not only one album. I need to buy several albums to get the permission to go to a fan meeting, because otherwise, what's the point?
What's the point? Exactly.
Yeah. Or, for example, I didn't get my favorite idol, like
the photo cards, right?
If I'm not having the photo card I want, I'll exchange it, or I'll sell this one, buy another one.
Right.
So it's like a whole community that supports their idols, not only with their likes and with their streams, but also financially and with their like support.
Have you bought any goods yourself?
I did.
Really? Can you tell us?
I've bought like several K-pop albums when I lived in Russia, so I ordered them from Korea.
Wow.
So I remember I have like 21 album. I have some EXO albums as well. Just two, I think, like the Growl. The
main hit,
that made them who they are right now. And yeah, I can't remember some more, but yeah, I was involved in this.
Yeah, you've got a couple. I mean, even since when you were living back in Russia, you got all these albums delivered abroad from Korea, which is, I guess, what makes it impressive. I'm just gonna see if any of our comments have talked about any fans that they've liked. Oh, someone talked about how it's interesting that they also talk about like Hanbok when we talked about the Demon Hunters and the girl group themselves. They kind of incorporate the traditional Korean clothing as well, which I guess is also something that could be worth mentioning. And I guess for you, Dubal, since you're a fan of K-pop as well, within the Netflix series, we see great performances and great music. We see these like very sharp choreography, whether it be from the vocals to the laps, and even the original soundtrack songs that have been actually sung by Twice members is impressive as well. And I think it's not only the animation itself, but it's all these it's the whole piece together, the music and the performance, that all really make it a very high quality Netflix series.
Yeah, like mentioning this movie, we can't not talk about the outfits, the stage performance, the stage itself. Also, like the weapons they used to fight the demons, it really that part when they were fighting the demons with the weapons it looks like Espa.
It does. It does actually.
I can't think about anything else. Or also when Saja boys were performing their like final performance wearing Hanbok, like being the demons, I was like, that looks like Vix to me. Right. I don't know. It's like these dances, the music they written for this movie, especially, it's so well made. It's like you can see how precise work was done on this movie, and I was like. I mean, like, before starting it, I was like, it will be just one more animation from Netflix. What should I expect? And after that, I'm like, wow, this was actually so good.
No, that's how I felt the same. I was like, why is this so popular? It just seems to be an animation, but a lot of these elements that are incorporated in the Netflix series, I guess, makes it a bit more high quality and very well made. Now, so for today, we talked about K-pop Demon Hunters, which covers not only K-pop, but it also talks about Korean modern culture, but also the traditional culture. And we also talked about the power of fandom culture between idols and their special bonds. Now, not only is this gaining a lot of popularity abroad as well, within Korea, it seems to be gaining a lot of popularity. For example, they sell these goods, as I think you mentioned. They are sold in the National Museum of Korea, but all of them, I've checked them myself, but all of them are already completely sold out. And they have these limited edition goods, which apparently they're going to be selling them again, maybe within next week or the week after. So if any of our viewers are interested, maybe you guys can go on the website and check out the goods themselves. But it's interesting how this Netflix series that's made outside of Korea has become popular again in Korea. It kind of has become in a full cycle. And for anyone who's interested in K-pop, interested in Korean culture, or who anyone is looking for perhaps a new superhero movie or new superhero series, can also check out K-pop Demon Hunters today. Any last words for you?
I think whether you are a K-pop fan or not, you will enjoy this movie 100%, like definitely. And it not only shows like the K-pop culture itself, it's very culturally strong. It shows many sides of a Korean culture. Also, like it shows I think some Korean society a bit, like for example, a swaying public opinion. Then they went from like girl group fans back to Saja Boys fans, and then they came back to like, and also it showed how hard-working Korean society is. Like for example, with the hat tricks. As soon as they're done with one promo, immediately another comeback.
It's
one more. Like we just want to rest on the couch. They rest a little bit, come back.
Right.
Another comeback.
Right.
No time to rest. So it actually shows how Koreans are in their daily life. But there is some things I missed about this movie.
Please go ahead.
I would just like to see a little bit more background of K-pop idols, like how it actually works behind, because we've seen their performances, but what I missed is like how it's prepared, the choreography,
the background stories.
Yeah, like I think it would be also interesting to watch, but at the same time, we have very limited time for the animation. So if they made it into a TV series, I would love to watch.
Right,
it.
that's true, that's true. I mean, great point that you mentioned. I guess not only does it really cover the reality of Korean society and K-pop itself as well, but it also incorporates all these high-level performances, the music, the background, as one of our viewers have mentioned. And it does a good job portraying what Korea is like. So today for our Who Reads story, we talked about a Netflix animation called K-Pop Demon Hunters. That's all we have for today. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment for our episode today. And we will be back next week with a new cultural element of Korea. See you next week.
Bye-bye.